Hey, everybody. Hey. If you are just now tuning in or have not yet heard this podcast, it's called That Shift. And my name is Kenyana David, and I am the host. And this is an unedited live podcast talking about business, things from the infancy stages of business and on. And I share this platform with friends and family, and we talk about all the things. So today we're talking about work-life balance, particularly with an age group, a teenager, Pride David. Yes, this is my daughter. And she agreed, I agreed to have this conversation, excuse me, publicly about work-life balance and what that looks like for her and what that looks like for us as a family, and also talking about privacy. So for those who know me personally, I am a very private person. So this is a big thing for me, for my daughter to have this conversation. But I think it's necessary. I think it's a conversation that's not had as often as it could be relative to having work-life balance at different ages. So last week, there was an episode that I did with Jay, the owner of 716 Live, where this podcast is produced. And we talked about work-life balance, but we talked about work-life balance as adults. But I want to have that conversation with a teenager who is balancing work as well as school, life, friends, family, and all the things. So to give you a good and proper introduction to Pride and her work, and you're going to have to add and maybe subtract from this. I had to write it down, y'all. But Pride,
It's not that bad.
it's not that it's bad, it's a lot. So she is a senior at Performing Arts. She is also a teen fact checker and video host and editor for MediaWise, a youth ambassador for Just Buffalo Literacy Center here. She is an actress for Nick News, that's produced by Nickelodeon. She also does work with PBS NewsHour and a fellowship you just did in Boston, where they created a documentary on environmental conservation in teenagers. I went onto her LinkedIn, y'all,
Yes.
and I just connected with her. But add to that, because I know there are some things that I'm leaving out, some things that were not on your platform, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to list the things that you're the most comfortable with sharing.
Yes. So my mom mentioned that I did a fellowship with PBS NewsHour Student Reporting Labs. So that was last June, and I went to Boston, and I got to do a story on Thompson Island and environmental conservation, and especially in a different take, because often when we talk about the environment and like protecting the environment, it's from a lens of living in a rural area. And this, we got to do a perspective from an urban area and from people of color, and why it's so important for like young people to get into environmental conservation and how they can get involved.
Okay. Any other projects or organizations or companies that you've had an opportunity to work with?
That's a good question. Yes, I have worked with some companies like here and there. So I did a conference. I did a couple conferences. I did a conference with the National Association of Media Literacy Education in July, and I also was the recipient of their first Media Literacy Youth Award, which was really amazing. And then I worked with the Family Online Safety Institute in DC to talk about digital policies and digital safety policies and implementing them from a youth lens.
All right, goody. So we're going to go back to really where this started. And I wanted to give some context to the work, because when we're talking about work-life balance, we're talking about travel. So there's a lot of travel with your work. And sometimes that travel is a day or two, say like when you have to go to LA for Nick News, or a week when you have to go to Boston. So we're going to get into the work-life balance with travel included. But in the moment, I want you to go back, and you can go back as far as you remember. I will not butt in. But when when did this start? What do you want to start with choosing performing arts? You know what? Let's start there. Let's start there. I think that's a happy medium, and then we can go into how you got involved with media wise and how long you've been doing that, and then we'll move into the opportunities, starting with the first opportunity that you remember that came from making that choice. And my point of bringing that to the forefront is to give context, as you as a content creator, as an entrepreneur, in the sense of creating opportunities, creating revenue or income for yourself. This is a business podcast, and your work is relative. So let's start there, Toots. Let's start with choosing performing arts.
Okay. So let's bring this all the way back to 2019. So I was in eighth grade, and in the Buffalo Public School District, unless you're in a school that like goes from like pre-K to 12 or whatnot, you generally would choose a high school. So I chose a couple high schools, but performing arts was definitely my dream high school because I just love art. And I wanted to make art a serious thing, but I didn't think that that was like something that was really possible, like that I had the talent or ability to really do it. So I originally was not going to go to performing arts for what I went to. I was originally going to go for music, but I decided to go for media communications because I love being on camera. I love journalism. I love film, all that stuff. And it was the best decision of my life to go. And I was accepted as a media communication student for the class of 24, which I will be graduating in June. So that's exciting.
That is exciting.
That is very, very exciting. And I'll get a certification in it too.
Goody, goody.
Yes. So from there on, it was my freshman year, and this was over COVID. And my school's Instagram had posted that MediaWise, which is a digital media literacy project. They have, it's mainly based on social media, and we fact check viral misinformation online and teach others media literacy skills. So they posted that MediaWise was having applications, and I applied the first time, but I didn't get in. But the next year around, they had applications again, and I applied, and then I did get in. And my original job there was a video editor and a YouTube host. And I later went on to now be a TikTok host as well. So I do TikTok, YouTube, editing, all the things there.
And the content that you're creating there is what PBS Hour. No, not PBS News Hour, but some of the curriculum for PBS Kids, correct?
PBS Learning Media.
I stand corrected, y'all. I stand corrected.
So yes, the videos that I have at MediaWise are available as articles from the Poynter Institute, and also lesson plans by PBS Learning Media that teachers can use in their classroom and that are used nationally.
Oh,
yeah.
I pay attention, but I can't keep up sometimes.
Yeah.
So
my friend in California, her teacher used the lesson plan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really cool. I'll have
That's cool.
friends text me and they'll be like, yeah, I just learned your lesson plan.
That's dope. That's dope. So then, so you get into MediaWise. This is sophomore year?
Yes.
All right. So where did the other things come in? I know that there was an interview on the news here?
No. It was like more virtual. I can't remember where it's based. Oopsies.
You don't remember? It's okay. No. It's okay. I'm asking you to go back.
So
I can't remember either.
The Monette Group's Take on Fake to talk about meme misinformation. So that was a really cool episode because for a lot of misinformation. It can be sneaky because they can sneak it through a meme. And a lot of people don't want to ruin the joke, so they never really say anything. But the problem with this is that memes can be like a fuel or like a vessel, if you will, for really like serious misinformation. And it was about like the COVID vaccine. So we need all the factual information we can get there.
Right, right.
And
So where did that go? Did that go directly to Nick News, or was there another opportunity that came before that?
I would say that came slightly directly to the news. Pretty much, yeah. So I did that interview in 2022, about like April of 2022. And later on, in around October of 2022, Nick News reached out to MediaWise because they wanted to do an episode featuring media literacy and incorporate that into their new season. And they asked if MediaWise had any like people who would be like up to do it. So my boss reached out to me, and I of course was like, yes, I'd love it because I love Nickelodeon. I've been a Nick kid since I was like a little kid. So my boss recommended me and like gave some examples of like work that I've done, including that interview. And Nick News chose me to be the person to go on to do the show.
Okay. All right. So after that has been conferences,
Yeah.
the documentary. That's where, what was that? PBS NewsHour. Okay. So shifting into work-life balance. One of the things I want to really tap into is how are you deciding what project to take on? So I know you're 17, and a lot of whether you can or cannot really goes through your parents. You know, who's going to support. And on our end, that looks like if she has to go to LA, who's going to be the parent that goes. And right now, we have kind of a system where we're alternating. I know at Boston you went alone,
Yes.
but you went with a group of kids.
Yes.
So I know a lot of that has to do with the capacity of the people that support you. But you yourself, when an opportunity is introduced to you, how do you decide to take it or not? It's not always a hard yes or a fast yes. Sometimes it's a slow no. How are you deciding?
Okay. That's a really good question. So it usually depends on a couple factors. The way I decide it right now is because a lot of the work that I do is over a set period of time. So I try not to have work that overlaps over that set period of time very often because that causes conflicts and I can't assert my best energy towards doing things. So it'll generally be things that, like if I have a contract that ends in like July, it'll generally be something that starts in August. That's usually how I decide it. And then now that like I'm in school, it also depends on the amount of hours that takes. That's a really, really big factor because if it takes more than 10 hours, I probably wouldn't do it when I'm in school because that would cause a lot of conflicts with the other stuff I do.
All right. So we know what your work life looks like. What does school life look like as far as classes, as far as extracurriculars, as far as graduation? You know, you've gotten some college acceptances and it's trying to figure that out. What does school life look like?
Okay. So I have the best guidance counselor ever. And she got me like the best schedule. So my schedule is it's filled with classes. So I have 8 classes a day and they're 45 minutes. But my classes are to my strengths. So I don't take like math. I take a science instead because I really like science. And I also have a study hall. There's more like laid back periods. So it's not always like go, go, go all the time. So I've really been able to like utilize my study hall to get work done in class and not have to have as much homework. So I can, after school, I can be my best self and do work or go out with friends and things like that. And in terms of extracurriculars, it's also been really interesting to do that too. Now that my work has picked up for extracurriculars, I do still a lot of stuff. And it's usually like every week I go through my calendar and I like time block everything out. I started time blocking, so that's been fun. But I time block out like which clubs have meetings, if I have to go to anything for like to go set up or to go take pictures for like yearbook or something. Yeah.
All right. It's funny because obviously I have a front row seat into your life. And when I was your age, my senior year, I was really involved. I went to Bennett and I was in the law magnet program. And I was really involved with youth court and mock trial. And I had an internship for the first half of the year. And then I was taking classes at Hilbert the second half. Like it was wild, but I don't remember having a system. I don't know. Well, this is before, there was social media and all kinds of different distractions. But I do remember having a really cool support system. And when you were talking about your schedule and your work starting sophomore year, what kind of support can you identify? Because I know somebody somewhere had to suggest or create the space for you to have such a chill senior year. I know you have Mr. Riffle.
Yes.
I know that you have him, who he is such an amazing teacher from a parent perspective.
Yeah.
And I know that your school has been giving you a lot of grace with travel, because some of your schoolwork has to be done by way of tutor. So how does this look with support? Are you asking directly and saying, hey, I need support? Or are people just seeing you and saying, how can I support you? What does that look like?
So it looks like both. Primarily, I do go to like my media teachers, Mr. Riffle and Miss G. They are incredible and they help me with applications, resumes, whether or not to accept opportunities, like things like time management, time blocking. Like Mr. Ripple really got me onto like the time blocking stuff and like putting things in the calendar, Kanban boards, using Trello, all that stuff. And I've also been really lucky to have really great guidance counselors at my school. Like I said, my guidance counselor has been really nice, and like supportive with me doing like things like Nickelodeon and helping me to have like a schedule that's like more flexible for me to be able to do stuff. And my parents are also incredible. I love my parents. They're so supportive of everything I do.
We try to. I think I really want to spend a little time when it comes to support, because whether you're 17 or 27 or 47, when it comes to time management and work-life balance, there's a lot of players in that. Like, we're not just so smart to be able to balance. There's so many people that play a role in that. For you parents, you have friends.
Yes.
So I want to know about your friends, because the cool thing that I love for you is that you have friends that are in your specific field and zone of genius, and so they understand it, and they can support you. And I know there's a couple that you mentioned,
Yes.
like during dinner, that will reach out and say, Pride, I saw that you did this, or they're doing dope things too.
Yes.
You have some really cool friends, but what does support look like for your friends? Because you're at a school and you're in a major of folks that are doing the same things, aspiring to do the same things. I want to know what that looks like from like a support, and then also the healthy competition. So even though this podcast is that shift, and how you heard it is how it should be heard, it is all about positivity, like just really having honest, open conversations about business. It's rarely about the stuff, the shit having to do with business. But when you're in a space, like a shared space where everyone is wanting to do the same thing, sometimes it can have the reverse. But I want to know about your friends, not yet the other stuff, but your friends. How are your friends supporting you?
So I've been really lucky in my life to have friends in different areas of my life. And when I did that fellowship in Boston is when I met some of my best friends, and they are incredible and wonderful. And like my mom said, the really cool thing about them is that they work in journalism too. So they understand like the good and the bad parts of working in journalism, the really frustrating parts. And we yeah, we all lift each other up. We all support each other. If we need help with anything, like we can help each other with it. Like my one friend's getting into film, so I can help him with film stuff, but maybe I don't know something about print journalism or like writing journalism because I don't really work in that a lot, so he can help me with that. Applying for colleges has been really nice too. My friend, she's helped me with that. And yeah, it's been really great to have like work friends and just like have that support of people who like really get it and who like lift you up and are just like they're so loving and supportive and just like
It is
feeling that
important.
love.
It is very important. And I think sometimes the idea is to avoid friends in the same space because of this idea of competition. But when it comes to work life balance, I found that having friends that are also entrepreneurs and small business owners have almost kind of kept me honest,
Yeah.
in that space. Jay, the owner here at 716 Live, I kept him on the phone for like an hour talking about a business shift, and that's an important thing to have folks that, support you.
Yeah.
So now with moving into your fun stuff, like fun life, because you are active, like super active. She's going to Starbucks with friends. She's going shopping with this friend. Somebody's having a pool party or a sleepover. How are you balancing that, knowing that you do have these projects? You do have to graduate. That is a non-negotiable. With your family, you have to graduate. You get no passes because of the work that you're doing. We think your parents, your grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, your siblings think that you are cool and that you're doing cool work. But in real life, for a lot of us, our work is acknowledged and it's celebrated and it's appreciated. But you, ma'am, get no passes with whether you're going to graduate or not. So how are you balancing that? And we don't, you rarely hear no. I don't say no to you too often. I want you to live your best life. I want you to have fun. I want you to have the best memories of high school. If you turn down a project, because you only say projects that you actually want to do. We don't, as a parent, you do not decide what projects. It's whatever you want to do. But how are you balancing your friends and your abundant social life? How are you balancing?
I think a lot of it comes down to compromise because this is something that me and my friends have actually had conflict with this year um, because I work in a like half new, half traditional space. Like it's more of a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 structure that I work through. So I work during the weekdays and they work on the weekends. So a lot of it comes down to compromise. Like when I don't have a deadline or if I finish early, we'll go do something. Study dates are definitely a thing in our book. Really like scheduling time and making time for each other is like really important because we want to spend time with each other. We want to see each other and just like nourishing that relationship. And also like texting too. Like just texting little updates throughout the day is really nice too. Sending memes, TikToks that are factual.
It's so corny. I love it. I love it. So I know there's some things that you're looking forward to as a normal senior in high school. So for those who are not aware, I am a member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, and one of my sissies got you your prom dress.
Oh yes.
She looks gorgeous. So I know you're
It's
looking
so
forward to
beautiful.
prom. What else are you looking forward to?
Graduating.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited to get my certification in media communications. Okay. Media communications at Performing Arts is a career and technical education program. So at the end of it, I will get a certification. So I'm very close to getting my certification. I'm so close. And I'm so excited because having that certification really allows you to like choose your own future. So it allows you to walk into spaces that you maybe wouldn't have been able to walk into if like you haven't had a college degree, and you can walk into those spaces and say, I'm qualified to be here. I have this certification and I have the skills and the experience to be able to be great in here. Or it gives you the space to walk into like higher education and be like, actually, I have an upper leg against this other person because I know what I'm doing and I will thrive here even more than I already am. So I'm really excited to get my certification. I'm so excited. Like I think I'm more excited about my certification than my diploma at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to make my senior project. For my major, I have to make a film to get my certification and also LinkedIn, which I'm already ahead of the game because I made a LinkedIn.
I connected with you this morning.
Yeah.
You're gonna connect with me now.
Yes.
She's connected to other people. Say, Miss Nikia. I saw her name. I was like, "You're not connected to your mama."
I'm pretty sure I requested you.
No, I had to
requested
connect
Mom,
with you. I expect a response.
You should look at your requests. Well, you should look at my requests.
No, it looked like
because
a first time I took the initiative.
I promise I connected with my mom. It was a request for like 2 months.
I digress. So your senior project.
Yes, senior project. I'm excited for prom. Don't tell my principal, but senior skip day. It also happens to apparently be on my birthday. So that's kind of funny to me. And just like the end of year senior stuff, like the rose ceremony and like graduation, it's really bittersweet, but it's also like really exciting because it's a new chapter and there's like so many things that me and like everyone else are going to do once we graduate. And it's like so exciting. And we can buy lottery tickets now. Isn't that exciting, Mom? What if we win the lottery?
I've actually never, ever thought about you buying a lottery ticket. It never crossed my mind. That's what you're looking forward to?
Yes, when I turn 18, that's what I'm doing.
Gonna buy a lottery ticket. Can I have some if you win? I'm supporting you.
I'll take you out to a nice dinner.
Nice is subjective.
It'll be like
I'm
a
going
$3
somewhere.
sign restaurant, Mom.
I'm not waiting in a line. Anything with A $3.
$3 sign, like on Google, how they have like the
Oh,
$3
I'm
tiers.
like, I'm not going over with you when my meal costs $3. Okay. Uh, College. You are looking forward to that, right? Please tell me
Yes.
it's so. Okay.
I am looking forward to going to college. I plan to pursue a bachelor's degree and I want to pursue it in journalism or something media related. I will not share where I have been accepted or applied to for privacy reasons for now. But I'm really excited. Class of 28. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited to pursue that degree because I do want to go on to be a producer or a reporter. And yeah, I'm excited.
You
It's
look excited,
exciting.
Toots. You look
Yeah.
excited. So, with that, so we've been talking about work-life balance and what that looks like for you, but you kind of offered a segue into the next piece of this conversation with withholding, at least for now, where you want to go to college. And the second part of this conversation is privacy. We're individually, we are private people. Collectively, we are private people. And, before this episode, we had a conversation, of one, is this something that we want to do? And if it's something that we want to do, how to go about it, right? So, and let me just offer some clarity to what that means. It's not about, it's not an ego kind of conversation. It's not that her work is so big and she has so much popularity or fame. It's just, what do we need individually and collectively to stay honest, to stay focused on things that we care about, to stay in alignment, to stay in what we consider priorities. I think really everyone in the family, respectfully, are doing really cool things. Your brother has so many accomplishments. And, I'm putting out this, public announcement that I want him at some point to be on here as well. This is my entryway. But while again, we acknowledge when there's a win is a win, and we celebrate it with dinner. We will, give our high fives or, our high tens. At the end of the day, your pride and our mommy, and we stay in that space. We don't talk about a lot of stuff. We don't. There's no ego. Ego is not welcome in our home. And sometimes when things are no longer private, everyone's opinion or their thoughts or their ideas or their suggestions come out. And then we're now thinking about things that we wouldn't otherwise think about. And with that, it creates all kinds of emotion, from anxiety to fear to our attitudes are changing. Someone can come up and say, "You're doing all these things. You're amazing." And now you come home with a big head, and we have to have a conversation about that. Or somebody says, you really could have put on a little makeup or something. And then now, we have to talk about that. So, when it comes to privacy, that has been a really big thing across the board, from, close family to aunts and uncles that, live out of state. So when it comes to privacy, do you think, from your opinion, if and how privacy plays into work-life balance? Is it a necessary thing? Is it kind of like a gauged, you can be open? I am not on social media. For some, honestly, for some folks, they've never seen you. They have never seen you. They have never heard you. And that is completely by design. Your siblings, you have an older brother, you have a younger sister. A lot of folks have no idea what y'all look like. Even though you and your brother are in similar spaces when it comes to your type of work. But my question, I said all that to say, or to ask you, if and how do you think privacy plays into a healthy work-life balance?
I think privacy is like a case by case situation. I always like to say it's private, but it's not secret.
Right. Same.
Like, I mean, it's not really a secret that I do like media work. Well, it'd be kind of hard to make it a secret now, considering I'm in teachers' lesson plans and like I'm
You'd
in
be
Nickelodeon.
surprised. I mean,
But
people have no
yeah,
idea who you are. Or,
yeah,
or for even like, people that are, Monique said something once that made me really put things in perspective. The comedian slash actress. And she was saying when she got nominated for an award, I want to say the Oscars, but I could be wrong. Do not quote me. But when she did, she had to basically campaign because there were so many people who had no idea who she is. And it really put things in perspective of no matter what you do, there's somebodies who have no idea who you are.
yeah. Well, I was thinking like I interpreted that question like more in the perspective of like friends, more
Sure,
so.
sure.
Okay,
Okay.
like privacy with friends. I mean, my close friends know what I do, but that's a good question. I don't know because I don't really talk about my work too much with people, unless it's like, well, I talk about my work, but it's like in the perspective of, oh, I have to go. I have a meeting at 4, or yeah, I'm editing this video, but they don't really know what the video is for all the time. So then they just like see it and they're like, oh wait, you were editing for PBS. It'll be like something like that. So privacy is definitely case by case. I also don't post a lot on social media either, even though I'm trying to be better with that because I feel like that would
I
be.
say that every year.
I feel like
That's why
yeah,
I'm live now. I kind of suck at it.
I think it would help with like building my brand, especially this year because there's going to be a lot of changes and transformations.
I'm sorry. That tickled me. So that was going to be actually my next question as far as like managing that, but you kind of answered. How are you managing that? Because when I think about privacy, there are friends that I have that I speak to every day, all day, and what's ultimately presented looks like it was planned out, it was done right, it looked like I wanted it to look, but behind the scenes, oh my gosh, it is like if I'm ever recorded as a behind the scenes and all of the stress and the anxiety and the freaking out and the crying, sometimes I cry a lot. That happens, but managing that privacy because you have your friends and you're vulnerable with your friends. But is that ever a conversation of like, not so much, let's keep this between me and you, but how has that kind of played out? Because Are your friends, the friends that you're thinking that come to mind straight away, are they in your same space? And this is why it's kind of like we don't have to say, if we do a sleepover, can you not post this? Or we do something that is going to compromise my opportunities in the future. I'll put it that way because that's subjective of how something is.
Yeah. So I'll take like a school dance, for example. Like, as you can imagine, school dances, people are dancing and having fun.
Why are you making eye contact with me? Like, what are you doing? If I hear about you doing something crazy, like, I don't even want to talk about it. If there's ever a video that surfaces of you like on the stage, on the podium, twerking or something, it's going to be a whole conversation, but carry on. Carry on.
But for that, what would happen is like usually me and my friends we'll go through the pictures and we'll talk about like what we should and shouldn't post, specifically of me. So yeah, that's like one of the ways we do it. Besides that, like I don't really mind my friends posting me or anything like that. My like kind of thing with it is just like just don't like post stuff like if my boss was to see that post, what would she think? And if it's not anything good, please don't post it. Like keep it in your camera roll. That's kind of like our type of thing. And a lot of stuff like it usually stays between us unless I say otherwise. Unless I say, "Oh, go tell my mom." Then they're probably not going to say anything.
I've got questions now. But
Mom, I don't twerk at the dances.
but before we disconnect, I particularly wanted to, even though, we did have a few conversations about this and privacy, there were a lot of concerns that I had because there were people that I had spoken to that really wanted to know how you got involved and with your work, your stuff. It has always been your decision. It has always been, whatever is your jam, whatever has been your comfort zone. I have made no connections for you. Whatever you've done, you've earned. And my role is just to celebrate it. But there has been, folks that'll say, how can I basically hook them up? And I've been very protective of you when it comes to that, because I think at some point networking is going to be how you move forward. But I never wanted that to be a part of your underage experience in this. However, another reason so that was one of the reasons I was nervous about coming forward with it, because there are people that know, but not as many as probably now. But one of the things I did want to do, and I did want to have this episode with you, is because I think you're a dope little person. I think the things that you're doing, you are handling yourself with such grace and such class, and you are really making decisions. Things aren't happening to you, they're happening for you. And you are giving the good and proper time to decide if something is good for you. And you've been, through this point, been staying in alignment, have been making the best decision based on who you are, which is, I think, is just absolutely dope. And when it comes to work-life balance, I'm actually inspired by you. I think it's really cool. You send your schedule out every week. You text me, you text your dad, and you say, this is what my week looks like, and this is the support that I need. I need to go here. I need to travel here. And it could be travel in the city, or you got to go somewhere, or I have a meeting Can someone not interrupt me? So Raquel, I see you. I see you. Hey. And, I think having that work life balance looks different for adults and for teenagers. But with the work you're doing, I did want you to offer your perspective of what that looks like, because now you have the element of school. And even though we connect in that way, in that we're both in school, I think it looks different because now, like, my schooling looks like writing my dissertation. There's nothing else to look forward to other than graduating. You are looking forward to prom and senior skip day and graduation, and there's some balancing into that, and there's some social aspects into that. And I wanted to highlight that work-life balance, say, in the conversation that Jay and I had, looks completely different for you. And even though my work requires travel, it's not like your work. Like, I know that I'm traveling in September. Nick News does not do that. They'll say next week, Wednesday. And we're like, whoa, whoa. And then we have to like make adjustments. And you have been doing it with such it's just been smooth. It's been smooth for now. I don't know what the behind the scenes with your friends look like. If they look anything like mine, where I'm crying and it's these ugly cries. But for the people that support you, you have been, really diligent and consistent about saying, this is what's happening. This is how I need support. These are all of the things that's involved so that we can, balance our work-life balance. So I wanted to say that you're a dope little individual, a little person. Any thoughts that you didn't get out? Anything that just kind of popped into your head and you're like, I meant to say this then, but if you got it, go for it now.
Okay. Yeah, nothing's really coming to mind.
And within your comfort zone, what would you like to share relative to either ways that so folks can support you? So there's a few people that I can see in the chat. If I know that this is live, and if you have left comments or asked questions, charge it to my head and not my heart, and keep them. Don't delete them. Keep them in the comments, and I will make sure to say something. So whether you are on Facebook, on my personal page, or my business page, or you're on 716 Live, or if you're on YouTube or Twitter, Instagram, I believe, put your comments there, and I will, get back to you with an answer, or, react and love on you in that way. But how can folks support you? Not so much follow you and all these things, but like, if they wanted to support you by following you on a platform or checking out something that you did, what comes to mind? Of the folks that are tuned in, or live, or who will check it out as a replay or recording. She's mumbling. I don't know. It's okay. It's okay. I wanted to give that space of, I know you're not selling yourself. You're not like, and these are all my, social media platforms. But I will share a few things with you. Some, you got Pointer Institute. I have a couple of the Nick News, and I'll share them just so that you can support her and the platforms that are supporting her. Nothing more, nothing less. But with that, I want to thank you all who are tuning in live. If you are listening to this as a recording, I want to thank you for taking the time to do so. I really, really appreciate it. This is a Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. Rain or shine or snow podcast. So if you missed the full thing, go back and listen to the recording. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will love on you all tomorrow at 8:30.